Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap, 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think, 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his mind. His mind.
So thank you for joining us on the Wigan Way. This week we're going to discuss the Challenge Cup game against Sheffield and the entire round really. But starting off, lads, how are we doing? Lewis, how's your week been, mate?
It's been good. Enjoyed. Watched a bit of the Challenge Cup. A bit different. Watching a couple of games on like YouTube, and then obviously like the iPlayer as well. But no, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Matty, how have you been, mate?
Yeah, good. The YouTube games are fun, aren't they? Yeah.
There's a different feel to it. Don't get me wrong, I would have loved more games on the BBC, and I'm sure we'll talk about why Leeds and Saints wasn't on the
main channel.
On the main channel, it was on the iPlayer and the red button and whatever.
It's good though.
But I really do like the YouTube stuff. It's
Opens up to a bigger audience, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so.
People who can watch it.
There were lots of people when I clicked on it in the chat that like talking in real time. You know, the live chat function. Most of them were saying mute the ref's mic. Which was, to be fair, they did mess up the ref's mic, but they did fix it once they saw all those comments, which is good, because you'd think they'd just ignore all them comments.
yeah, start the recording and leave it. But
Yeah.
they fixed it, and that's all you can ask for, really, isn't it? So let's have a quick chat about this game. First of all, Wigan vs Sheffield. It was nice to play someone not in Super League, really.
Yeah, we've been crying out for that for years, haven't we?
Crying out for a change, and it's a nice little.
Played a championship team for so long.
It's that nice change, isn't it? That nice going seeing players you don't see.
It's different colours. You see a few throwbacks. Chris Wellham, Ben Jones Bishop wasn't playing, but there was a few throwback players back to with their days in Super League when they were in, and a new set of fans that have never probably been to DW before, or if they have, I don't remember it, and most of them won't either. So we've said for a while we want new teams in Super League because we want to see new fans and new colours and new cities and towns, and Sheffield was a new one for us.
I do love with the Challenge Cup when you do get these semi-pro teams, and I can't remember his name, the guy who posted the picture.
Oh, number 4, Glover. James Glover, was he called?
Yeah, working as an engineer during the day up a telegraph pole.
Yeah.
And then
playing the world champs.
Playing the world champs at night. It's stories like that make rugby league special, isn't it? And
that's the Challenge Cup.
That's the beauty of the Challenge Cup.
So weird, but so good at the same time, isn't it?
Right, shall we go through the tries of the game?
Sure.
So starting off, there was 3 tries from Bevan French, 2 from Liam Marshall, 1 from Wardle, 1 from Lehman and Mago. Harry Smith converting 5 and kicking 1 penalty.
Yeah, 6 out of 9 Smith went. Oh no, I don't think it was great conditions, but...
And I'm still there was one that I was sat behind and I was adamant it went over.
No, I don't think he got any.
There was just one from where I was sat. I was just adamant it went over. But first of all, Bevan French, he scores a very trademark try of his.
Yeah, well,
step.
He had a try scoring opportunity that he decided not to go for. He said turn back into the middle of the pitch and created another one all by himself.
Yeah,
it's just Bevan French all over it.
Yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? It was typical French with the creativity in the steps.
No, that is nasty. Doing a full day at work and having fit defend Bevan French.
I know. It's not fair.
Can you imagine? It's all right when you're fully fit and you're up to Super League fitness, but imagine doing a day's grafting at work and then at night you've got to go and try and chase down Bevan French.
I'd rather watch Bevan French step past me than have to do 60 minutes tackling Luke Thompson.
Well, they'll both make you look silly, but one will put you in hospital as well.
Yeah. To be fair, French might put me in hospital when he breaks my ankles, but that's a different reason. We then scored another try shortly after. Marshall from a scrum again. I do like how much scrums are being utilised straight from the back. Harry Smith running round, hits Hampshire, and obviously hits Marshall on a bit of a drop-off ball. Does really, really well to find his way to the line.
Defence is just disorganised, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's it. It's a touch quicker, a touch faster. passing's a touch faster. It's a big step up for Sheffield.
The real change has done that though as well, being able to take your scrums at the centre of the park. A lot of teams now are using that because obviously it splits the defence and it's much harder to defend. Obviously sliding over loses itself really a bit because you're in the middle of the park, so it's much harder to hunt and slide and things like that. So a lot of teams making use of that real change.
Do you know what I liked about it? I'm going to mention it, and I hadn't really noticed it until this game. But obviously, if you're now offside at the scrum, you could elect to have another scrum set up and reform the scrum,
which is what we did.
And obviously, because a penalty for being offside at the scrum, you can't take 2 for. Is it called a differential penalty? Is that the right terminology for it?
Something like that, yeah.
It makes sense to just be offside because they can only tap it anyway, and you can have a set line.
Yeah, with 13 men back.
As soon as he pinged them for offside, I thought, right, just repack the scrum, Harry. Repack it, and then when we scored, I said, that's why you repack the scrum.
I like it, and I think if you're offside a second time from the second scrum,
bin.
I think at that point it just becomes a normal penalty where you could take 2 because then it's classed as deliberate. I think
it's weird though, isn't it, that you can't. Differential penalties, whatever they call that.
Well, you can
take 2 for this penalty, but if you can see the penalty via this way, you can't take 2.
You can't take 2 anymore if they go, like we spoke about last week, on a short dropout and it goes out on the full.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't go 10. You can't take 2 for that anymore.
The only time you can is if you played it short. So if you was the defending side taking the goal line dropout,
or if you make contact before it goes 10 metres.
Yeah. At that point, is a penalty that you can kick for 2, but it's the only one.
Speaking of restarts, what was going on with our restart on Friday night? Sheffield must have done 10 or 11 restarts, kickoffs, and dropouts included. And we must have messed up 6 of them.
We can't have reclaimed half.
Honestly, it's like we score, they kick off, and they get ball back straight away. Either we mess it up, or we don't get underneath it in time, or we let it bounce and it goes off the side of the pitch. It was crazy. I couldn't believe so many kickoffs, and long kickoffs as well, were being messed up. Maybe it's just because in Super League everyone kicks it as far as they can, but not too far.
And tries to just land it just short of the goal line.
Everyone lands it just short of the goal line, whereas here, it was like a bag of licorice all sorts. He didn't know what kick he was going to do. He did 2 drilled ones that went over people's heads.
I think that's what threw it in.
He dropped one right on Nsemba's head. He put one short of French so he couldn't get to in time. He put one really long that nearly bounced over the edge that we just about saved.
You know what, that's what sometimes Championship teams have got to do, mix it up. Super League, they kicked at 6 or 7, don't they? Who hands it to the prop for it running, it's quite predictable. So if you come and you think, actually, you know what, let's surprise them a bit.
But we should have stopped being surprised by it.
Yes, I know, don't get me wrong. Yeah, we should. Hopefully you would like to think so. But I don't blame Sheffield for mixing it up a bit.
Sheffield were actually really smart. The way they played, particularly in the first half, was really clever. Sheffield aren't going to come here and batter us through the middle, let's be honest. But they just kept shifting it, kept stretching our defence one way and the other.
They kept asking questions.
Just asking questions, which we dealt with them easily. But it was much better for them than trying to batter it down the middle, which would never have worked. So I thought they had a smart game plan. They were helped massively, as any Championship side would be against a Super League side, by the game stopping every 30 seconds. They were, because the game was not allowed to breathe at all. You were waiting for the whistle. Every set there was a whistle.
Matt, I can't remember if I spoke to you about this. There was some things that I don't think the ref got much wrong, but he was so pedantic over some of them.
He was very picky.
Pinging people for being offside at the markers, and the pass has gone 3 wide, and no one's even been involved. He's pulling people for offside when.
Well, that's the sound of his own whistle.
It just stops the game becoming a spectacle.
Yeah,
and it becomes boring.
Yeah, that's the thing. It takes away from the product, doesn't it?
And we had just as many bad decisions go in our favour.
Yeah.
And picky decisions, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were picky back just as many times as them. But it was so boring.
It just ruined the flow.
Game there was never any excitement until the second half. The first half was just whistle after whistle after whistle.
And I've got to say, he caused himself an issue with this, that he blew his whistle so often, and fans want to see the game. They don't want to see the ref stopping and starting it. But he blew for so many pedantic ones that towards 50, 60 minutes, he made a couple of big right calls when was it the Liam Byrne obstruction? Where I think the ref got it right. It was a good call.
the obstruction where Hampshire went through
Yeah.
was the correct call. The one where December went through, I'm not sure.
I thought it was, but I thought it was at the game. I've not watched it back in detail.
That was the more unusual one. The one Hampshire went through, that was obviously obstruction, but people still annoyed by it.
But people booed and said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And come on, ref, because he just got wound up by the game being so stop-start. And it's when no one's got a problem if you stop a game for a high tackle. It's a high tackle. If a bloke's a metre offside. But some of them were for markers not being square, and they're just outside each other.
Stops the game.
And the ball's gone the opposite way to with the marker who was offside anyway. Yeah.
And there was one that he stopped where I forget the name of the Sheffield player who stayed down holding his head.
It was a half-back, wasn't it?
Was either half-back or full-back, I can't remember which one. And he asked him to pass the ball to someone else and play the ball 2 yards to the side. No one did it, no one listened, just stood there waiting. So then he passed the ball, he went and got the ball and gave it to another Sheffield player who stood waiting. And we just waited for the guy to stand up. He moved off the mark from where he was. I get that he'd asked them to move.
That reminds me of when I was watching the Magic Weekend game from 2012 that I said I was watching the other day. We had 2 red cards, didn't we? And they had 1. And the ref was Ben Thaler, and he actually refed it quite well. But he had no idea who was meant to be in the scrum anymore because the teams were so decimated. He didn't really know who was meant to be in the scrum. So we tried to pack down with just Mickey Mack. and the ref said to him, "Where's the rest of your pack?" And he says, "You've sent them all off." Right? And the ref went, "Well, I've not sent them all off, have I?" So he says, "Right, come on, you need 3 more." And I don't know if he was guessing or he knew the rule. Like, you need 3 more. And no one moved. So he said, "What are you going to do here? You can't just have 1 man in the scrum." And eventually they just put 3 more people in and played the game. But it all stopped, such a funny exchange. Yeah. "Where's the rest of your pack? You sent them all off."
Yeah.
Right?
But yeah, it just felt very pedantic.
Yeah.
And then people get on your back and criticise the ref. And I'm not here to criticise refs or anything like that. But you end up in a situation where you're getting criticised for making the right decision.
Yeah.
Because people are just frustrated. People are frustrated with it. And
I bet on Friday the game flows. There'll not be as many picky penalties.
No.
They need to, though, for games like this. I go back, there was a
But all
game.
games should be ref like that.
I know. I'm just saying this one because I go back to, we played during when Lam was coaching, can't remember what year, but the game got we won it. And the game got loads of credit, and everyone said it was like an NRL standard game. And
it's for the league leaders.
And Sean Wayne put a tweet, I got a lot of thing, and he said, actually, the person who needs to get credit for that was the ref, and I think it was Chris Kendall who was reffing the game. And he said, because he let the game flow, he said there wasn't a penalty, I think the first penalty come in like the 35th minute or something daft like he said, so it was set for set, both teams going at it.
He was only giving penalties for foul play,
and that made it, and that made it, the
things
game
that were blatantly obvious that you couldn't forgive. I think you give 2 offsides.
People always say after that, why do they not ref every game like that? You can't. And I'll tell you why you can't do it. Not every game is Wigan against St Helens. The bottom teams of our league, like it or not, the bottom teams of our league could not cope with that pace.
Yeah.
Without it being so stop-start. You would have absolute cricket scores every week. I know we already do, but you'd have cricket scores every week. And that's why I think they're told, keep it close, keep it stop-start. Unless it's a big game where you know you've got 2 good teams who can actually match each other, if you let it go. And they're fit enough, if you let it go, they can match each other. That's the reason. And that's the reason Origins ref differently to NRL games. Because it's the same problem there.
It was funny, we were talking about a game as we left the ground, and I think as we played North Wales Crusaders when they were at Wrexham. And we were 40-odd points to 0 up in 20-30 minutes. Thingy Price had got a hat-trick in a ridiculous amount of time. And Wigan then gave away 11 penalties back-to-back after being 40-0 up. And you go, that just doesn't happen. It just doesn't...
No, and I do think as well, we've been really good with the new don't collar people in the head rule. You know, the new rules of sending people off.
Sorry, I'm going to change that. It's always been a rule you can't just club.
No, but they've clamped down on that sort of contact.
The increased punishment.
But you'll notice we also seem to get penalised a lot for technical ruck infringements and things like that. I think it's just a case of give loads of penalties at the start of the season and then wind it back after that. Because I don't think the teams near the bottom can compete if the game is allowed to flow. Well, I know they can't.
Yeah.
It's too quick.
It's too quick for them, and it goes on too long. If it goes between whistles too long, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
The longer it is between whistles, the teams near the bottom of the division are in big trouble.
It's an interesting
Should we get back
point.
to the game?
Yeah. We didn't really mention the squad with this. Was anyone else surprised to see the complete strength that we went at, considering out of that 17, there's probably only Field that's definitely in, and I'm trying to think who else missed.
Isa was missing, wasn't he?
Isa was missing, but he's not a shoe-in to get back in.
I was surprised he went so strong. I knew he'd go strong because you can't give everybody a week off before Good Friday.
After having a week off.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
If we didn't play London and we would have had to go again with a strong team, we would have rested in possibly more people
We
for
said
this game.
It's kind of gone against Jack Farriman, doesn't it? Because if there was a few more weeks between London and Sheffield, he might have played against Sheffield.
Yeah.
Farriman
Yeah.
and maybe Eckersley and a couple of the young lads. Whereas they've only just had a rest. You don't need to rest Harry Smith or Bevan French, do you?
Something I wanted to point out, though, I was really happy with the fact that they went with Hampshire at fullback. There was talks of should they put French there and play Rocky in the halves. I think Smith and French is the partnership that we want to have long
I was
term.
looking forward to seeing maybe Eckersley at fullback, although they do seem to see him as a centre or winger.
I just think it was one of them that's the partnership you want. You want as many games as possible
Yeah,
with
you
that
need to keep
partnership.
them ticking over, don't you?
Well, I
Because they
don't-
already had a rest at London, so then for rest them again, it's like, no, they need to be
I just think
playing with each other to build that consistency up and keep going.
we've got to remember that this Smith and French partnership, it only came about in July.
Yeah.
It's not been a year in real time. It's probably been 6 months worth of games. Can't be more than 25 games they played together in the halves. So I think the fact that he stuck with that and didn't move French to fullback and Hampshire in the halves was just a little bit. Yeah, this is our partnership and we're going to work on it. It would be interesting to see what would happen if Jay was to have a length of time out where the French would go fullback.
I think he would.
I possibly think he would at the moment.
Yeah, I think he would. Hampshire into the halves.
But it's real strength, and I'm glad that he stuck with it and he stuck with French and Smith there.
Yeah.
I know it would have been a one-off to put French back there, but
No, I'm glad.
Yeah, but you don't have like you say, before Good Friday, you want to make sure
That
people are getting
partnership working.
consistent, and they're playing the roles they're going to be playing. You don't want to disrupt it too much, do you?
no.
Not when you've already disrupted it once for London a couple of weeks
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
But there was another try. It was in the second half, this one, for, I think he's the only Wigan player on the Man of Steel rankings.
Patrick Mago.
Yeah.
Paddy Mago.
Well, they
Big
should have
sexy.
scored. Hampshire should have scored, and it was a great tackle to stop him
Yeah.
scoring. And you think, right, what a brilliant defensive effort that was. But his teammates let him down a bit there, I think, because they passed it back inside and Mago just waltzed in.
I have to agree with that. Now, we asked a thing on Twitter the other day, and I'm going to ask you two now to just have a quick think about it. We are 6 competitive games into the season, and that being Castlereagh, the World Cup Challenge, Huddersfield, London, Salford, and then the Challenge Cup. Who's been your standout player, and who's been your standout signing? We asked on Twitter, and a lot of the similar names came up, but
Wardle,
Thompson, O'Neill.
Yeah, Wardle and Thompson for me, I think. Wardle's been fantastic. How he's taken a step up after last year, I didn't know if he could. I didn't know it was possible to make another step up after how good he was last year. But
He was absolutely brilliant, and
yeah,
he's been brilliant still.
Yeah.
That step.
He is an absolute lock for the England side at the end of this year. Absolute lock. Guarantee if he's fit, he's playing.
We might discuss that later because there's been a bit of talk about who would be your shoe-ins for the England side. A couple of other players that got a big mention. Tyler Dupree. We did say at the end of last year that he still hadn't had a Wigan off-season. He wasn't Wigan fit. I think he's stepped up another level. I think he's
he's been good.
lots of long minutes.
He's been really
Yeah,
good.
Ellis has been good, hasn't he? Since he got given the 13
Ellis has
shirt,
been
I think
fantastic,
Ellis has been really good this season. He's stepped up. O'Neill's done a good job as a young man coming in. We talked to be bigged him up last week, didn't we?
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And to be fair, there was one guy who commented, and I will mention him. Tony Pete just mentioned it's very easy to take Jay, Bevan, Harry for granted. I know we haven't been at our attacking best, but they've still shown really good signs. What is it now? French is on set. Is it 7 tries?
Oh, I'll have a quick look, but I don't know if he's on that many. Marshall's on a lot.
I know Field hasn't got off the mark yet with his try scoring, but
Field's got 4 assists.
4 assists.
French has got 6 tries and 2 assists.
I'm sure Field could have had 3, but he just passed it to somebody else before he dove over that line.
Wardle has got 4 tries and 5 assists. Some good numbers there.
That is really good numbers.
Big Sexy, 3 tries and 1 assist.
6 man of steel
Sexy.
points.
6 man steal points.
That's the ones that matter. Build the statue.
And 6 wins out of 6 for all of them. But all the ones who've played every game, which he has.
You'd have snatched your hands off of that at the start of the year, wouldn't you?
Yep. I think especially last week's game against Salford, that was one that could have got away because we didn't play great and it was away and it was terrible conditions and all that. Perfect storm for losing a game. But it just means later on in the season, if we have any tricky away games, I mean, the next 2 are tricky away games, let's be honest. St Helens is a toss of a coin any time. Lee away, that's a tricky tie. But it does take the pressure slightly off them. Whereas last year, we were going into that period thinking, right, okay, well, we have to win at least one.
Well, what was it? I was going to say, what was it that period?
Lee away, Saints at home, Warrington away, and we were thinking, like, well, we have to win
And then
at
we
least
had
one.
Wakey, and we were thinking we needed at least 6 points from 8. I remember, like...
I think we were looking at getting 2 wins out of 4 and being happy with that. I ended up winning all 4.
And that's the thing now, we've got off to a start. Like we said, we're joint top of the league.
Yep.
With a game in hand. We can afford to lose a game.
We don't play Hull FC until round 15. And Warrington have already played Catalan twice or 3 times by then. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
It is. Oh, that is.
And I bet Hull FC have got their act together by then.
Well, they might have sacked Tony Smith back then.
More
Surprised he's not been sacked still.
More on them later.
Yeah.
But this is a part of the issue with the draw. I don't get how it... I said it to you the other week. I don't get how this can't just be simple to work out.
The Super League draw.
It should be simple. It should be easy. Because we play Cass in 3 weeks' time. 4 weeks' time after a cup game. We've already played them. We've won to play Hull KR or Catalans. We then play Huddersfield again. And we've still not played Hull FC. We've still not played Leeds. It's actually August before we play Leeds. 9th of August is the first time we play Leeds.
That's not right either because we'll draw them in the cup next. Oh no, we can't, can we? Right. We'll draw Warrington instead.
But yeah, getting to the 1st of June before you play Warrington.
Unlucky Rowan. I can't wait to talk about that game, by the way.
Yeah, well, we will wrap this up
I cannot
soon.
wait to talk about Leeds bottling it again.
It just doesn't feel right that you can play so many games against the same teams and then not have played. We won't have played Warrington, Hull FC or Leeds till after the start of June. The season started in February. That's just not right. We're not a 20-man league, a 20-team league where you've got all these different fixtures and coming up. Like, there's only 11 other teams and you've not played 3 of them.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Not at all.
There'll be a reason. I don't know it. There must be a
It can't be a good reason.
No, there must be a reason. Why would they do it? There must be a reason.
It must be something to do with staggering the loot fixtures so there's a big enough gap between them.
Or clashing with football. Or clashing with something like that. Pitches being relayed.
How many teams does that affect, really? Hull FC, Huddersfield, us?
Yeah, but it only has to affect 3 to mess everything up, doesn't it? Because all of a sudden, if them 3 can't host a home game...
Yeah, but you'd think you'd play them at the start and end then,
you're chasing your
to
tail.
spread it out.
It's not as easy as that mathematically, but...
Right. Anything else to comment on this Wigan-Sheffield game, lads?
Do we mention Lehman got a try as well?
Oh yeah,
I think we
Lehman.
missed him out, didn't we?
He has got
He's got a signature celebration now.
Yeah, he's dying to get on the front cover of the next Rugby League Live game, and with his signature celebration.
He's got to keep it up for like the next 4 years.
Oh,
It's never out that.
I know.
A salute to the fans.
Salute the fans. Yeah. What if he? I mean, he's not done this yet, but what if he scores in front of an end that's not full of Wigan supporters?
Well, to be fair, he did that at Sheffield against Sheffield. It was empty, that stand.
Well, true. But he did do it to the East stand, didn't he?
Yeah, I suppose so.
He saluted to the East stand. If he was down the other end,
Would you
or
take
if
one
it
of
was
them?
an away
Would you
game.
take one of them on Friday?
What? Yeah, but if he scores on Friday and it's in the first half, what does he do? Just turn round, run back to the halfway line, and then do it all? Like,
No, do it in front of them. Give it them all. Give it them.
he'll have that big ball bloke coming on like he did with Tompkins trying to chase him.
Right, that wraps up the Wigan game. Another good win. Great performance from Sheffield.
We're in the
really
proud.
proud.
I do want to talk about Sheffield actually. They showed me enough in that game, and the fans they brought, to offer quite a bit to Super League.
Definitely.
They're up near the top of the Championship always, but they held their own for half the game. They brought quite a few fans that were noisy. They conducted themselves in a good manner, unlike certain other Championship teams. But
Well, can we just mention the games that they've already won this season?
well, the point is like, yeah, they raised the game to play us, but we are one of the best teams.
Yeah.
Like, we raised our game to play Penrith, and we couldn't do that every week.
Mm.
But we wouldn't have to if we were in the NRL. We wouldn't finish bottom at NRL, would we?
No, because you get used to it.
But you wouldn't have to play that intensity every single week because you'd have games against worse teams. They'd do this. Sheffield, I don't think would finish bottom. I don't think.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you think they'd have beat Cass?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
If they played like they did
Do
then.
you think they'd have beat... Who else was in there?
They'd beat London.
Did they beat London?
If they'd have played like they did there and actually gone up for it like they did, you never know if they would. But if they got up for it, I think they'd beat them. I think they'd beat them teams at home. I think they'd have a couple of other games at home where they'd run close.
Mm.
Not every team in the league is Wigan or St Helens, is it? Or
Yeah.
Warrington.
No.
You're going to have some easy games. If you're Sheffield, you could pick 6 or 8 points up. And I think that'll be enough to stay up this year. Stop up with 6 or 8 points.
Not to discredit London. Do you think they put a better fight up than London?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're in a better position to fight. But there you go. London beat them last year in the playoffs.
Mm.
And then they won in the final. So, in fact, they won 3 games, didn't they? They beat them, then they beat...
They beat Featherstone.
No, they didn't. Did they beat Featherstone?
We're just having a look
Yeah,
at the
they beat Featherstone.
Just having a look at the
And
championship
they
from
beat
last
Toulouse in the
year.
final.
Yeah.
So
The London battered them 42-0.
Sheffield?
Mm.
Yeah, I know. And Sheffield were favourites for that game. I know.
Just to point out who Sheffield have been, they've had a really good start to this season.
Mm.
Obviously, they play a Challenge Cup a couple of games beforehand
To get to this round.
Battered Newcastle 88-12. You would probably expect that.
Yeah, Newcastle.
They went to York and beat York 32-16,
That's a good win.
and they went to Swinton and won by 2 points.
Mm.
So some really big confidence raising teams, and then they started the season with a 24-22 win against Toulouse
That's a good win.
in
Very good win.
the championship.
You think Toulouse will be up there at the end of the season?
I'd be surprised if they weren't.
York will be. They're always in the playoffs.
Wake will be up there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, from teams that you've said they beat, York are always in the playoffs. Toulouse are always in the playoffs. I think you'd think Sheffield would be in the playoffs, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember where Swinton finished last year.
I don't think they were great. They just stayed up and lost their season, I think.
But a really good performance, and
Yeah.
I was very, very impressed. Right.
That's all you can ask a championship team, isn't it? Go try and get
have a
up
dig.
for it, have a dig, test yourself, and see how far you can go.
To be fair to some of the lads, especially the lads who scored or set up tries, and
They celebrated everything, didn't they? They were massive in that.
I'm
That's
surprised they
what
didn't
it
injure
means.
that one who scored that second try.
You'll never. To be fair, scoring a try against Wigan at the DW, where Penrith have just lost, to go here.
Penrith only scored 2 tries and Sheffield scored 3, so, the Astons or the Clearys. All I'm saying.
Right, that wraps up that section. We'll be back shortly to talk about the rest of the Challenge Cup and what's going on for the Smiths. Right, so we're going to have a little bit of a chat about the rest of the Challenge Cup games. 7 games, it was the last 16. Should we start with Hull KR Salford? A real big win for Hull KR. I think the energy and the effort that Salford have put in has caught up with them. The last few games that they've had, big win against Saints, a very narrow loss to us. I think it takes a lot out of you, and the injuries to Cuss still was Cuss available. I can't even remember if Cuss played.
It was hard for him to keep going at that intensity, wasn't it?
Yeah. Cuss was
keep
back.
Backing up every week after that. It's tough.
No Nofaluma in this game for them. No Hankinson. Ollie Partington was back.
Hankinson's in a boot, I saw him the other day.
Partington was back, but I just think it might have just been a game too many. They could have done with a week off if we're being honest. Hull KR, they stuck with Evalds at full back, Hickey in the centres. Interesting to see they had Opacek in the off the bench. He's a very high quality player. He's someone that's difficult to leave out in my opinion. I think
you can't leave out Tom Opacek, I don't think.
Especially, I don't think he's done much wrong. I don't think he deserves to be dropped.
I didn't leave him out of my Exiles team, which caused a bit of stir, didn't it?
Yeah.
That Exiles team.
Yeah.
50 odd replies. People told me I was stupid for forgetting Curtis Sheridan.
Well, that might be your fault.
They can put together an Excel team.
Exactly.
Yeah, you put together Excel.
Stop crying and make your own team up.
But anyway, 2 tries for Ryan Hall, 1 for Joe Burgess, Tanganoa, Hiku, Staunton and Evalds, all in one. Jeslitten kicked 4, and the penalties make that 5, and James Batchelor. Batchelor.
Yeah, James Batchelor.
I was getting mixed up. James Batchelor kicked 1 from the touchline. Pretty good effort.
Did he kick it on touchline?
Yeah, this is the issue. Litton goes off, and they've not got a goal kicker.
Well, what was his jokey tweet about? Did he kick one under the sticks as well?
No, he kicked 1 from under the sticks the week before, didn't he? Yeah. Super League, the section on the BBC being accurate as ever, saying that Matt Parcell and Jez Litton lined up at prop for Hull KR. If you're following the BBC website, we talked about the coverage.
Salford do go a bit small ball, so it might be a reasonable back.
But talking about trying to advertise the game and do whatever, we commented that it was only the Leeds Saints game that was on Sky. I've just also noticed as well that BBC have 14 players starting for Hull KR as it stands.
No wonder they won. Battered them.
The joke just writes itself, doesn't it?
It does. So I'm not even confident anymore about the team for.
No,
it could be completely wrong.
Willie Peters could have lined up for all we know.
Yeah, but a big win, like we said, for Hull KR. I think this is one they needed again after a couple of results in the last few weeks. They've not been brilliant. They've won a couple of close games. They've lost a couple of close ones, and I think this is what they wanted, just to get some big points on the board and have a nil to the name.
Yeah, sure. Back the the defence. Yeah, so like you said, cup games can be good for that. You can, forget your league form, what you've done. If you can win your cup game, you can try and take it into the week after, can't you?
Definitely.
So that's obviously I know. I mean, we'll talk about predictions a bit later on and what games have got coming up in Super League, but that's what the teams will be looking to do.
The whole derby.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Yeah, they don't. Not that they needed to win the cup
Tony,
game before they played.
Do you need some sleeping tablets, mate?
I'll have to say. Needs a new job.
Let's go and talk about his nephew now, Rowan Smith of Leeds. Leeds lose another game, 6 points to 20 to St Helens. They were 6-4 up, and not great. Really, really not great. Tries was for Leeds was the intercept from Harry Newman. He does love a good intercept.
He loves one, doesn't he, Harry?
Yeah. Especially when he gives a shush sound before he gets
brought back.
back.
A few for England if he wants.
Yeah. Clark, Benison and Walmsley getting the tries for Saints. An efficient job from St Helens, I think.
I think they'd have been surprised by how easy it was.
Yeah.
I think, does this show where Leeds are at? Would you put them in that same category maybe as the Hull KR, your Warringtons?
I don't think they're in that category.
But what I'm trying to say is they're going to struggle against Wigan, Saints, Catalans, but you'd kind of put them that they'd be competing with your Hull KRs, your Warringtons.
No, I think that's fair.
Do you know what I mean?
I think
Not in that category. They're a bit of a way off the kind of top three of Wigan, Saints and Catalan, and they're kind of in that kind of fighting for the 3 to 6 position.
I think that's a fair comment.
I think that's a fair comment. I don't think they're as good as Hull KR or Warrington.
I don't think they're as good as any of those other three teams, Warrington, KR or Catalans, though. So I think if you were lining them up, they'd be 6th.
Right, okay, yeah.
To be honest, I'm probably going to say at the moment they're probably closer to Lee. I think Warrington and Hull KR are closer
to Catalans
than
I think Leeds are in a bit of a step by themselves below Hull KR and Warrington, but above Lee and Salford and obviously Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Because you'd put Huddersfield with them others, wouldn't you?
But I would have Lee above Huddersfield and Salford.
Yeah, but in that section, 7 to 9-ish.
The question is, how long can it go on for? We talked about patterns of play and what's going on at Leeds, what's the way they're trying to play. I still don't know. I really don't know.
No.
I went back, spent this weekend looking at all the tries from Leeds. So I watched all the highlights, tried to see a consistent pattern. I couldn't see one. There was several tries that were similar of nature. But generally, it felt like everything was different. It felt like...
It's very ad-lib, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not structured, it's kind of everything. They're good at, they can do it, score tries out of nowhere. We've seen that, Ashan.
They can
scored
have brilliant
some beautiful
40 minutes. They can have brilliant 80 minutes. You can't do it again and again.
It's like you said last week, Dukesy, I think you made reference to it, Sam Tompkins said, the best teams are predictable. You know how they're going to play and you just can't stop it, whereas I don't think you know what you're getting with Leeds, except, because I don't even think they know what they're doing. They're not going to structure or play. It's very strange.
I was actually listening to a football podcast, I think the Overlap or whatever it was, and they were on about Ten Hag at United and struggling to see that pattern of play consistently. You watch a Pep side at Man City, you know exactly how they're going to play.
Yeah.
No matter what sport you're in, all the top teams are going to play a certain way, and you know how that is, don't you? You know how Wigan are going to play. You know what Saints' attacks are like. They like the short side play. They like the kick at the post. They're not necessarily going to beat you with brilliant hand Saints, but they're going to beat you down the middle and strong.
Yeah.
We know how Catalans are going to play. Obviously, it's a bit of a transition period for them. Hull KR, you know the style that they're going to play. You know who the key men are for Warrington. Dufty and Williams and them getting the ball in the hands is the important men.
Yeah.
One, who's the leader of that team, of the Leeds team. And do we really know any of them well enough to say that they can be given the keys to the team to do what they want without there being a structure there? Because there isn't one.
No.
I really don't know where they go.
No, well, that's what Tyrone Smith to find out, isn't it?
Should we jump over to Uncle Tony?
Let's jump over to Uncle Tony.
I bet you it's fun having a meal with them two.
Poor Uncle Tony.
I know. I feel a bit bad for him. Tony Smith.
Family Sundays together can't be interesting, can they?
Dear me.
We got beat again. So did we.
Yeah.
Jesus wept. It's difficult for him. Huddersfield, 50 points to 6, beating Hull FC. A try scorers for Huddersfield. Sam Halsall with a hat-trick. Nguama got 2. Adam Swift got 4. Levette got 1.
Oh dear.
And Connor kicked 2. Lola here kicked 3. So they still missed, let me get it right in my head, they missed 6 kicks at goal. So it could have been 60 points to 6. Jordan Lane and was the try scorer for Hull FC, and Charles...
Jack Charles.
Is that his name? Jack Charles was the solitary goal for
Young
Hull FC.
halfback is Jack Charles. Young halfback.
Another... You talked about the real discipline last week, Matty, with Franklin Pele getting another ban.
Yeah.
And...
Well, he can't be banned this week, can he? Because he's not played.
Yeah. But Liggy Sow, yellow card. Ill discipline's costing them.
I saw a few people saying that they would drive him to the airport themselves, saying Liggy Sow's finished as a Hull player.
Really?
Quite strong words. Obviously, they're very emotional at this point, and it's not a good place to be if you're a Hull fan. But they are turning on the players, I think. I've seen a lot about Tony Smith, but more than ever they're turning on the players.
There's just been some big changes already, and I'm looking at the team. It says that New Brown started at 9.
That's what they were all asking for.
Danny Alton on the bench. It was strange to have New Zealand's international hooker played in your halves. Was a strange move. Maybe Danny Alton's not ready to be moved on, but you can't do the 80 minutes that you're wanting of him every week anymore. Ockenbaugh was your starting second rower, is now off the bench. I wonder why they let what's his name go. Who went to Lee? Ben McNamara.
Yeah.
I've been impressed with him the couple of times we've seen him. I don't know what Tony Smith can do to change it.
Do you know what? I don't think Tony Smith does.
No, I don't know. I think this is beyond his wild
I think it might need... And I feel sorry for Tony Smith in a way, but I think the only thing, if I was in charge at Hull, which obviously I'm not, but I'd be calling. I just think, you know what, it might need. Clearly there's something going on here. The coach's philosophy is not getting through to the players aren't connecting with the coach. It's not working, and it's probably time to change something.
Last year, the fans had a bit of a go, didn't they? And Adam Pearson said, if we're still this bad next year, come and talk to me. Well, they're still... They're actually worse.
I was going to say, you're not just as bad, you're worse.
They're actually worse than they were last year. Somehow they've got worse.
There is no direction. Jake Clifford obviously saved them a lot last year.
He must have done. It's the only explanation I can think of is Clifford was carrying...
They obviously need Truman back. Getting Jake Truman back would be a big back for them. I just don't get some of the changes. How many of these players are going to be there in 2 years' time? I think they might need to get rid of 10 players.
At least. At least.
You read the side that played Tex Hoy, Martin, McIntosh, Sutcliffe and Tyndall, Charles and Smith, Herman Essay, Brown and Lee Sowell with the front row, Scott, Staveley and Lane. Some young lads there, but Brown, Gardner, Horton and Ockenbaugh. I always ask, and I'll do it when I look at Wigan and when I look at Saints and Catalans and pretty much every team, how many of them would I want in my Wigan side?
How many of them would... Well, none, obviously. But how many of them would I take in the 30-man squad? Maybe take New Brown.
I'd take New Brown in the squad.
Maybe. But we're all right at 9. But probably New Brown and Tex Hoy. Maybe. If there was no quota.
Maybe Tyndall.
Maybe one of the young forwards. Maybe.
I'm just not impressed with that squad.
No.
How many of them would get in the Hull KR side? Maybe one of the big props.
Maybe. None of outside backs.
None of the spine gets into
No.
anyone's squad. The 1, 6, 7, 9. None of them get into a top 8 squad. I don't even think they get in the Salford squad.
Throw 13 in there.
They don't get in the Salford squad, Lee squad.
So what you're saying is they've not got a very good squad.
The team's not very good.
But they've spent more than all them teams.
Yeah.
It's a more expensive team.
It's
not more expensive than ours, but it's more expensive than half the teams in the league. Let's be conservative. It's much more expensive than London, obviously. Cass, Salford, Huddersfield, maybe they're probably similar.
I think Huddersfield and Lee would probably be similar price squad.
Lee will be a bit cheaper. KR.
I think KR have possibly just overtook them with the outside backs they've got in Gildar, Hiku. But it'd be close. We're not saying that Hull FC aren't spending half the cap, are they? They're spending a vast majority of it, spending more than teams around.
Which is why you can get and say London aren't doing very well, but they've got no Super League players apart from Miludi and Lee Kershaw and Walker. They're not spending anywhere near the cap. Castleford aren't very good, but they never spent money.
This is
Hull FC, they've spent.
I've said it before, it's such a shame for their fans because they've got such a big fan base, loyal fan base.
But
big club.
They'll be testing that loyalty though, Lewis. We're testing that loyalty.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. And you do because they're think we've described before as the club that got away in the Super League.
But you know,
they've had a chance to build, and it's just going the complete other direction.
Do you not think though? Every year you get told how good Hull FC are going to be this year. This year it's here. Oh, we've brought in
The pack.
SASA, Franklin Pele, Ockenbaugh, and it's very rare that you get an overseas prop coming over here if he's not possibly past his best. They've brought 4 in. SASA, Franklin Pele, Ockenbaugh, and who's the other one they've brought in? They brought in another prop.
Where did they come from?
They already had so.
SASA was Dolphins, wasn't it?
Canterbury for
Ockenbaugh.
and Pele.
And was Franklin Pele at Canterbury as well?
I saw a video this week. It was like, who remembers Franklin Pele? And there was a video of him taking a kick-off back, or a dropout it was actually, a goal line dropout, absolutely battering into a few people, taking another carry and destroying defences. And he scored off back of it when he was playing for Cronulla, this was. And a few people were saying, why did Canterbury let him go? Why did he never make it at the Bulldogs? So, that was him done.
He was done.
He did them 2 carries and he was done. He missed 14 tackles or whatever. He was off. He got subbed off because he couldn't do it.
I just look and I go, you know what I think Hull FC need? A Scott Taylor type prop, a 50, 60-minute prop.
Not one of them. You know, the old adage that probably isn't politically correct anymore. Plays like Tarzan, or looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. You know? These big props, if they're a big prop, enormous, look the part, if they were any good, they won't be in Super League. You know what I mean? These big, enormous props, they're a commodity in the NRL. If they're decent, they get a contract, big, decent contract.
But again, the props they've signed, they've not signed a long minutes prop. We signed Luke Thompson, who is a 60, 70-minute prop, could play 80 minutes very easily.
Yeah, but Luke Thompson is not going to go to Hull, is he?
He's not.
Because he wants to win things.
I have just picked the one that we've signed. Not one of the pack screams to me, he's going to be your 8 out of 10 every week. He's going to make 20 to 30 tackles. He's going to make 120 metres, 30 carries. That's a bit extreme. 20 carries, play 70, 80 minutes. You might have to sub him off and back on again. But he allows your Patrick Magos to do a 25, 30 minute stint.
No, it's total, you mean?
In total. He allows you to have one of them props. You can have one.
Just for
We're gonna have had props like that before in Palliacina. They had
Frank Paul,
who developed into that long minutes prop.
Who else did long minutes? Lee Mossop
did long minutes. I'm thinking of
Coley.
Andy Coley.
So I'm thinking about the
long minutes.
Pettibone.
Oh, Eddie Pettibone.
Yeah, I forgot we had him.
He wasn't here very long, was he?
No, he only did a year. But props that can do 20, 30 minutes.
Well, you know, he did quite decent minutes when we had him, was Gil Dudson.
Yeah.
Never really captured that again, did he?
You need props that can do 50 to 60 minutes to allow you to carry an impactful prop. I look at Hull FC. SASA is that way. Franklin Pele is that way. Liggy Sow's that way.
A bit.
Who's the one they just let to go? Satay was very much like that. Impactful and brings ups his level, but you're not going to get 50 minutes out of him. And Wigan carry one with Mago and carry 2 props as well, just to have cover for it.
Yeah.
They don't have anyone for long minutes. Right, I feel bad enough on Tony Smith. Huddersfield were pretty good.
Yeah.
Pete, what was in front of
professional
him?
job.
Yeah, to be fair, this wasn't the strongest side of
be an interesting game for Huddersfield next up. They've got their rival is. Who's their rival? Huddersfield.
Rivals round without a rival.
Rival round. But, do you know who Huddersfield's rival is?
I'm just having a look now. London away.
London and Huddersfield, natural rival, are they?
Oh my god, how many do you think they'll bring to that?
Oh, that's an interesting point. That's an interesting. London are at home again.
Will London bring more to Huddersfield than Huddersfield bring to London? Who's going to bring more out of them two in the?
I don't understand the
rivers?
question. What Huddersfield
are travelling to London.
Yeah,
they don't travel well.
No, not really.
I think London might take more to Huddersfield in the reverse fixture.
No, I don't know. I don't think London will travel this year. The interesting thing was Huddersfield Hull FC was a very low attendance. Yeah,
Right.
very low. There's only 2 games all week that were over 5,000. You know,
I don't know.
that's the cup last 16. There's only 2 games over 5,000. What was that? 7, 6.
It's weird though because it is the first round as well. And you can't
6.5.
really follow it. You can't. You're not invested in it. If we'd played 3 Challenge Cup games beforehand, and then play Sheffield, you'd probably get more going.
That was Sheffield's story though. That's why they had good fan base following them.
Right, Lee Featherstone, 26-14. Hanley taking his chance on the wing.
He's on fire, isn't
Yeah, hat trick.
First
Charlie.
hat trick, wasn't it?
Yes,
It was all in first half.
I think
he?
so, yeah.
And he scored last week as well.
Um,
Is that 3 games in a row he scored, I think, now?
yes.
They were saying on the comms.
Charlie and Moylan getting the other 2 tries. 2 got conversions and a penalty for Matt Moylan.
Try scoring. Charlie always gets
Just
over
loves
the
one
line.
a game, doesn't
He
he?
loves getting over the line, Charlie.
And then a double for Wakoko.
Best of luck.
I don't know how to pronounce that. I'll give it a go. Wakoko.
Well, I think it's Wakakoke.
Walkie-talkie.
That's what they said on the commentary was Wakakoke. He
Alright.
tried his best not to score that first one, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just play your full back in. No tar. I'm going round him. I think he surprised Charnley to get round Charnley. And then Heidecker comes across. Play your full back in. Nope. Okay, he's missed your tackle, but you're still going to get caught. Play your full back in. Nope. He's tiptoeing down the sideline, trying his best not to score, and it ended up over. You got to respect the confidence of the young man, though.
Definitely.
Go yourself.
We talked about some ex-Super League players playing for
Eagles.
the Eagles. A couple in this game. Greg Minikin played centre.
Yeah.
Aiken, did he play in Super League?
He
If you
did.
remember?
Yeah, he did with Lee, wasn't
Was
it?
it Lee? Yeah. And I'm trying to make sure this is the right guy, but Bowes, your favourite player from
Harry Bowes.
Harry
Bowles.
Bowles.
That is him, yeah. Harry
Yeah.
Bowes.
I
Harry
was
Bowles.
really,
Wakey lad. Harry Bowles.
I don't know how that gets you so much.
It's brilliant.
The fantastic performance.
It's brilliant. It's a brilliant. His name's Harry Bowles.
Definitely.
It's a good name.
Right. A good performance from Featherstone.
Got Wakakoke on one wing. Get Jason Gary on the other wing. Harry Bowles through the middle.
We definitely need to get a 13 of best Super League names.
Just silly names.
Best rugby league names. But good performance from Featherstone. Lee doing what they needed to, really.
Yeah.
Right, let's move over to Batley.
Fev have got Wakey this week. That'll be a good
That'll
game.
be a really good game.
Look,
You know what possibly decides who finishes top in that?
Well, yeah, they have still got to play each other again, but it'd be a good game. That keep your eye out for that one.
Now, Batley versus Castleford. It was 14-14 at half time. Batley will be really disappointed. They conceded literally. I think it was any senior who scored with about 10 seconds to go before half time to make it 14-14. Castleford run away with it again in the second half a little bit. They won this game 6-2, but they only kicked two conversions. Castleford. Paul McShane back, got himself a try, and I think just brought that level of what's the word?
They needed him, didn't they? Calm,
Yeah,
Experience,
calm,
composure.
direction.
Yeah. Castleford though stuck with the Broadbent experiment at full back.
Well, if you're going to stick to it, you might as well try it in these games now.
Yeah. And another big point was that Joe Westerman played in the prop forwards.
So was Hooley on the bench?
Hooley was on the bench.
He used to play for Batley.
But they tried McShane. There was the conversation about them not having the players in the pack that could do long minutes. Joe Westerman is an 80-minute player.
Yeah.
At 13.
Well, yeah.
But it's not much different, not much of a change to the role there. And I think that's a decent move from Craig Lingard, and I think it'll be helpful.
But I had to try something with those props, not doing enough minutes. You're right, so...
He's a ball playing 13, Joe Westerman. So if he wants him in there as like a first, like a forward first receiver, a bit like, and obviously Cam Smith plays 13. Not
what Eddie Batty did for Sheffield in that
Eddie
game
Batty.
on Friday, and what he's always done for any team he's played for.
For the first ball playing prop as first receiver.
First receiver, you can go wide or you can go direct. Yeah.
Right. let's move
That's
over
right,
to...
he's one to look out for that.
I quite like it. I think it could be a really useful move for him.
Let's see.
Right, Warrington versus London. 24-0 at half time, 42-0 at the end. Not the big blow away scores that people would have suggested. It was 2 tries for Thewlis, 1 for Crowther, 1 for Roderick Ty on debut. Matty Ashton got 3, Toby King got 1, and Nicholson got 1 on his first game of the season.
Yeah.
So that was 9 tries. Ratchford, after breaking the record of 41, was it?
I think so.
Kicked 3 from 9. So, usually the way it goes. Interesting, no Drinkwater, no Williams. Ratchford and Hayes were in the halves.
Chance the rest, those two then, I guess. Well, especially Williams, because he's played every game so far, I think.
Yeah. Connor Wrench was on the bench, and obviously a
It
debut.
rhymed. Burgess was thinking, who should I put on the bench? Wrench. Because it rhymed.
Wrench on the bench.
Wrench to the bench, lad.
Warrington do what they need to do.
Yeah, professional. There's not much to say on this. It was a professional job.
I just think they'll be disappointed they didn't even get on the board.
Well, he said that, didn't
Yeah.
he? Mike Eccles said, we left a few tries out there. It's probably fair enough. They're just trying to score.
Halifax played Catalan.
Yeah.
A lot of talk the day before Halifax FC got called off because of the pitch being underwater, and the fact that Catalan were travelling on the €75,000 private jet, and the money that they laid out for the Challenge Cup, that could have been a difficult situation. That had to be rearranged.
Did it have one of his balls on it? One of his
That's definitely a bit worse than you could see on a plane. innit?
Imagine that on a plane. That fella on the game, he actually jumped over the advertising board. You couldn't do that if you were on a plane and stuck with the Raging Bull, Gordon Tallis here in Super League.
Anyway, Halifax.
Yeah.
Good effort. I think that's all that can be said for him, really.
Yeah, you just got to go and do your best, don't you?
Saltonstall scored for Halifax.
What's his name?
Saltonstall.
Saltonstall.
I'm reading you.
I thought you said that was his first and his last name.
No, that's his last name.
His first name is Salton.
A very quick first half hat trick for Tom Davis. I think it was 15 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Seguier, Romano.
The record breakers were just... The record keepers were just raising one eyebrow after that. Maybe Tom Davis could get into history books here.
And Satai, Abdul kicking 6.
Yeah.
Again, a professional performance from
Did what they needed to.
Yeah.
Did definitely what they needed to. And I think that's pretty much it to the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
It's been a good round of fixtures. I would like... I like the fact that Catalans had to go to Halifax. I'd have liked to go to Sheffield.
Catalans. As you said last week, Matt, the nation of Catalans are going to
Halifax. I really would have liked if us had to go to Sheffield. I do wonder whether there's a place for lower ranked teams to have home advantage, as long as you're in like the division below.
Yeah.
For that, I think it was a good round. It could have been a lot better. Definitely could have been advertised a lot better.
I think it always happens. When the Super League teams come in, they get drew against some Championship teams. There's some whitewash scores. You end up with some close competitive games.
Do you think blowouts in this are detrimental to the game? Because I feel like it goes on a cycle with rugby league of talking about, we want to play these different teams earlier. They want the experience of playing Wigan. They want the experience of doing this and doing that and getting the gate receipts of a Wigan or Saints, whoever travelling and bringing 1,000, 2,000, whatever fans it would be. And then we do it for a couple of years and everyone goes, it's rubbish for the game this because teams are getting 60, 70 put on them for nil.
Well,
and I think if you're playing that game and you do get a battering put on you by Wigan, you can say you played against Bevan French. You can say you played against Jack Wellesby.
Yeah, but the problem is that these are people with jobs and livelihoods, and if you go much further down the pyramid than Sheffield, you're getting to not even part-time players, you get into amateur players then, really, if you think about it, if you go to the bottom end of League One. So I do think you're then thinking it's just not fair. It's just not fair. And sometimes it gets thrown up in the FA Cup, but it very rarely does. And you know what? If one of those teams does make a run and gets to the last 32...
There's no real danger to playing.
Maybe they should play a Super League team. I think 32 is the only round the Super League teams could come in. If you expand Super League, which they want to do, you can't bring them in the last 16 anyway, because then nobody else will be in it. You can't win it, can you?
Yeah.
There's only 2 spots. So I think you probably have to come in the last 32.
That'd give you 20 spots.
So
most of the Championship.
Yeah.
Most of League One.
I think that's probably about right, but...
And if you give home advantage to the team in the lower division.
Yeah, I just think there would be a lot of blowout scores, and I do think that would be difficult to advertise. You can't sit in and only get beat 3-0. You know if when Maidstone lost to Coventry 5-0, for example. Well, it was only 5-0. At least it wasn't embarrassing. Could have been double figures. You can't do that in rugby. You can't just say, well, you can win, but only 60-0. You can't do that. You can't stop the other team scoring.
Yeah, it's a couple of the first review it, and I suppose the blowout score, it's not something you can market, is it? As exciting and, stuff like this, but for the people who go, especially, like you say, that if you'd get drawn away, and you go to some of these highlands of the game and stuff and get to some different away days, it can be a good experience for fans. So it's like anything, isn't it? There's pros and cons. I can see both sides.
From the financial aspect, it would be such a boost for the club.
It could be. You could sell the spark of an upset, Sheffield against Wigan, Halifax against Catalan. You can just about sell the hope of an upset. What if Batley beat Cass? What if Featherstone beat Lee? What if Halifax turn Catalan over? What you can't do is sell Newcastle against Wigan as the same thing. You just can't.
No, but you would have to sell it as the world champions are coming.
Yeah,
Super League.
But we know we can't win. You can't do like London Scholars against Warrington.
But let's be honest, they're not going to win the Challenge Cup, but they still enter it. And not to be brutally wrong, they know no matter how far they go, they'll get some prize money. It's not great prize money, if we're being honest. Which I actually saw it was less than in 1999. It's the prize money now is less than what it was in 1999. But you know that you're not going to be able to win it because ultimately you're not good enough. There's a reason we're in Super League and
that's the point of bringing in the Championship clubs at a certain point and the League One clubs and the Super League clubs at late. That's the point of that, is that those teams have had the rounds, they've fallen to a bigger team, and then it becomes a food chain then, doesn't it? That team falls to a bigger team. And then in come the Super League clubs to play teams where, at the very worst, there's a hint of a potential. You could see it happening. There's never really any games where you think they don't even stand a puncher's chance. If we can change the entire lineup and play the reserves or play the academy team, they'd still win. There's none of them. Which there can't be.
I don't know.
If you brought them in, if Wigan came in the last 64, their academy could win. One at games probably.
Yeah.
The reserves would definitely win.
I find it that we're sat and we talk about the magic of the Challenge Cup's not there.
Here's one for you. What if you could put reserve teams into the cup in the last 64, 128? But I reckon some of them would get to this point. I bet one of those teams would get to like the last 32 or the last 16.
The question is would you go and watch the reserve team?
If they were playing in the Challenge Cup?
Yeah.
I probably would, yeah.
I would. It's whether that reserve team would bring the same level of support that would make it financially worthwhile.
I don't know. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
I think something's got to be done.
Like you say, there's pros and cons.
How do you change the cup?
Something's got to be done to bring the life back to it. We all grew up with the magic of going to Wembley.
Well, that's what got told to us.
We got told to us going to the old Wembley.
Well, because we couldn't do it. We were Go to the Millennium Stadium, go to Murrayfield, go to
The new Wembley.
New Wembley eventually.
It's not the same. It doesn't matter as much, and you're almost worried about it ruining your season.
Exactly that. It ruins your season. Go in May. Like when we went to Tottenham. How good was that when we went to Tottenham?
Yeah.
And we still had a chance to go again. It was 4 games, 5 maximum for a Super League club. You can have it wrapped up by the end of May bank holiday, half term, whatever. Put it in London. That felt to me, and maybe it's just because it was the first one back after COVID, and it's the romantic in me thinking it was to do with it being in May half term. But I think that probably did have something to do with it.
Yeah.
Put it in May, then it doesn't ruin your season. You can scoop up some silverware in May, and then you can play the rest of the season. You can go again then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need more. We also do need another trophy.
definitely.
We need another trophy to play for, whether it's Lancashire Cup, Yorkshire Cup, Floodlit Nines, something. We need something where the players are compensated, but also there's more silverware available.
Mad when you think like you look at football and there's 3 domestic trophies you can win, and then your European trophies. It feels like you're constantly getting to finals, and you go to League One, and I like the 1895 Cup. I like the idea of it.
Yeah,
That you can win silverware
at Wembley.
at Wembley. There's got to be more opportunities for that and sell the game, and maybe not have Wembley as that game if you're not going to get 80,000 there. But you can certainly do stuff to up the ante. We're going to have a bit of a rant there, aren't we? Yeah, I said that.
We normally do, to be fair.
Yeah. Right, we'll be back shortly talking about rival round. Thank you. Thank you. So we're now back looking at the predictions for the next round of Super League Rivals round. Before we go through our thoughts and opinions on each of these games, I think it's fair to have a look at the scoreboards. We've voted each week
For the predictions.
Who we think's going to win.
Scores on the doors.
I have got 19 points. Couple of games let me down last night. We weren't helpful. Thought Batley were going to come in clutch and Leeds would turn up. Lewis, you're on 21 points.
I am.
Matty, you're joint leaders with the listeners, who got a perfect 8 from 8 last week, with 22 points.
22 points, yeah.
All to play for.
Yeah.
I think it's probably fair to mention our Super Bereavia in there.
Who's winning?
Callum Holland.
Oh, he's still winning. I thought you were
He's still leading 2.5 points ahead.
I thought you were only bringing that up because he's not winning anymore.
No, I've waited too long. He's got the yellow cap, as Super Brew calls it.
Well, there was no guesses last week, was there? Because they don't do the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, JB's in second, 35.5 points. And Matty, you're third.
Oh, I'm the top out of us 3, am I?
Well, what I was going to say was the rest of the...
Out of you 2, really, because I don't think I've... I know
You are
I've
bad
not
for doing it.
I've not done
You
one.
may be the worst person for doing it.
I need to leave it, really, because I've not done one. I keep forgetting, and I've just laughed too much now to make it.
You can
back
set it
up.
as a reminder.
So
I get an
know-
email every week.
I know, but I don't check my emails, so it's not right. I know, I'm sorry.
You're
but
going to get scammed one day, aren't you? Like
I do predictions.
Nigerian prince.
Yeah,
or
he does his
something.
predictions on here.
I do my predictions on here. So
21 he's got.
That's
21 points.
I'm doing well, 21.
Yeah, so them two are running away with it. The rest are made up between 30 and 30 points, make up the top 70. Top 17, sorry.
Top 17 are always between 30 and 30 points. Lewis.
30
That's a
and
tight
33
league
points.
That was
I meant to say, my mistake. So, let's have a look at predictions. Going to leave Wigan till the end, because we always do.
For the rival
Castleford
round.
Tigers.
They may as well be the Castleford Tigers where they played.
All the L's they keep taking, putting L in the name.
The Castleford Tigers versus the Leeds Rhinos. Lewis, who are you going?
Leeds.
Leeds.
Next question.
I think we could do this one even quicker. The whole derby. KR.
KR.
I'm going to go with the team that plays in white and red. Okay.
I'm trying to build a bit of suspense there.
I was building some suspense.
There was no suspense in that. In suspense. Are we saying there are 2 confident wins for the lead for Leeds and
They should
Robins.
be.
They should be.
Even Hull FC fans think OKR's going to win.
Should be 2 easy wins for KR and Leeds.
Imagine if Cass and Hull FC win.
If they do, it'll make the league more interesting.
Right, a game with a little... these get a little bit closer, these next two. On Saturday, we've got Warrington versus Catalans. 3 o'clock kick-off.
Oh, what a game this is going to be.
Tasty.
When is it? Saturday, 3 o'clock?
Saturday, 3 o'clock.
Oh, what a game.
Who do you
They have
think?
played each other before, these teams, haven't they? It was
They played in
Catalan.
Catalan's
It was
first round.
early. It was like a close win for
So
Catalan, wasn't it?
first round and...
So at Warrington this time, then I take
six,
it.
It's at Warrington,
round 1
yeah.
and round 6, they're playing the same team.
Yep,
Whatever.
it's a joke, innit?
I'm going to go with Warrington.
Well, I'm going to go wire for this one. Most of the time.
I'm going to go wire as well. I was just having a look then to try and see... what's the word I'm looking for? Who's favourites, and there's not a lot in it with the bookmakers.
There's not a lot in this
No,
one.
I don't think there
Really
is.
close. Next
We're all
game.
going Warrington for that.
Well,
None of us have got
I'm
Catalan.
surprised.
Now we go.
Listeners might go Catalan for
The
that,
listeners
I think.
will have it close, I think.
Yeah, listeners.
I think it'll be really close. Salford versus Lee.
This could be a tasty game.
Listeners last week, it actually is worth mentioning, sorry, something for the Saints and Leeds game was 50.6 for Saints. So that couldn't be much closer than that.
Oh, no, it makes me feel better about me going Leeds. It's Salford versus Lee. I'm going to go Lee. I think Salford
Salford against Leeds.
still a little bit fatigued will be my guess. And Lee need 2 points. They really do need 2 points. Lewis, are you going? I can hear you umming and ahhing. You having a think?
Yeah, I'm thinking again. Like I said before when we previewed Salford, been battered by KR, they will be looking to bounce back, but I don't know if they will. Like you're saying, they've had really 2 intense games, then they've just got a battering off KR. Can they turn it around for beat a Lee side who's on the up and playing well? Attack looks mint for Lee. It looks so
Really
good when they
Lamb's
shift the
back as
ball.
well. He was on the bench, remember?
Yeah, so Lamb's back. Yeah, go on, I'm going Lee.
I think I am as well. I want to be different, but I think it's going to be late as well. I think listeners will have that one close as well.
Yeah, I think they will.
Right, last one. Can we make it 6 from 6? We've never done this before. We did it 2 weeks ago. We're not going to do it again, I think.
What, all picked the same 6?
Yeah.
But they all came in though, didn't they?
They all came in. Could it be the same? It's London versus Huddersfield, and I'm going to go Huddersfield. Lewis, the one team to let you down last week.
I couldn't believe it.
I'd love to know what Lewis thinks about
Could not believe
Huddersfield
it.
going to win.
So just to kind of put that into perspective, I was 7 from 8 on the on Challenge Cup predictions.
Yeah.
And the one that let me down was because I decided not to back Huddersfield, because I only back Huddersfield and they let me down.
Yeah, a
And
bit
they
of
absolutely
backstory.
battered
If
Hull
you're a
FC.
new listener, Lewis went through a phase last year of always backing Huddersfield to turn it around and bounce back, and they
Never did.
never did, no. I'm going to take your lead and back Huddersfield.
Yeah, I think they're still going to be too strong for London. We'll go Huddersfield.
Well, I just managed to look. Warrington are slight favourites.
I make them slight favourites, but only very slight.
With
Because they're
minus
at all.
4.
Yeah.
Minus 4.
I think Catalan at home would have been a bigger
Yeah.
gap. I think Warrington at home.
So, according to the bookmakers, Salford are the favourites. 2 point favourites
At home.
at home.
Oh, yeah, it's on above them in the league. They're playing well.
Salford and Lee is a close one. Warrington, actually, there were some really good games this weekend. Some stinkers probably as well, but there's going to be some really good games. The unfortunate thing is they've got to make up some rivals.
I know.
Wigan and Saints, tick. Hull and Hull KR, tick. Leeds and Castleford,
Not really.
meh.
Salford Lee.
If Bradford were in and Wakey were in, perfect. Salford and Lee you can kind of get away with, but then
The Battle of the East Lancs.
Huddersfield and London, Catalan and Warrington. Catalan and Warrington's only a rivalry because they're both quite good.
Yeah.
They're both quite good.
They're both quite good.
And Catalans are by himself somewhere, and Warrington just can't break Wigan Saints down.
Drinkwater derby.
Wow, God, he play for both of them.
Yeah.
So we've got the Battle of the East Lancs and,
Yeah.
and the Josh and Drinkwater.
Well, it's better than play for your
We need to
coach's
get on.
dinner, which
yeah, well, that was funny.
was won by Ian Watson.
Do you remember when the whole thing between Salford and Lee started, and Beaumont and Kukash waiting?
Yeah, I remember
had that.
They went on Judge Rinder.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember.
They went on Judge Rinder.
I can't
They went
remember
on Judge
why.
Rinder over the sign of Gareth Hott, because didn't he sign from Salford to Leo the other way around. And Derek Beaumont, Myron Kukash accused like Derek Beaumont of like poaching this player for him, and they went on Judge Binder. I remember watching that episode. I was like,
they did do a Biggest Loser challenge.
I just remember that weight loss challenge. They kept weighing each other weighing each other, and just seeing it all over Twitter that they one had lost so much or whatever, and he was going to beat the other, and like I forgot there was a rugby match on. Like genuinely, right? We've all backed 6 from 6. We've backed the same. Do you think the listeners will go 6 from 6?
I think they will, but I think there'll be some real close ones in there. They might actually tip Catalans.
Mm-hmm. The bookmakers have.
No,
the bookmakers have got Warrington favourites.
The bookmakers have backed Salford that we haven't.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see how many people think Salford will win that game. Right. Oh, I didn't even say. I think we're all back in Wigan.
Of course. Yeah.
I just realised we didn't even mention that, did we?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. See what percentage of the listeners back Wigan, because not all our Twitter followers, I should say, are Wigan supporters. So it could be interesting to see what fraction. I reckon the neutrals are probably going to be 50-50.
Yeah.
With Saints being at all.
Saints at all, and there's obviously the big one.
Yeah,
That'll probably make some the neutral back Saints.
It does usually go with home advantage this game. We're not talking about Good Friday too much.
Well, I was going to mention it.
I was saving it.
I was going to mention it because there is a bit to talk about with this. Obviously, James Bell has just got a 1-game ban.
Yeah. They'll appeal that.
They'll appeal it. If not, they'll appeal the appeal.
Taking on Judge Rinder.
Yeah. That's what Super League really needs, more links like that.
Mike Rush is in the AFL. So Paul Cullen of the AFL committee.
And then after that, Featherstone's ex-players are going on Jeremy Kyle's show.
Well, the other ones to mention in that, potentially a few outs for Saints. Makinson's been out. Dodd was out last week. I can't remember who else I've read that might be out.
Have we?
I think it was them and Bell, wasn't it? Because obviously it's banned.
Clark was potentially up for a ban. There was talks of him being for a ban on that push. Adam Kieran got a £240 fine, very specific number, 240.
Yeah, I mean they must have. I don't know. He must have bought somebody lunch, so it was only 240.
It's only 250 in it. He just knocked the tenner off it.
He said, "Oh, you get your bus fare." Or I don't know. Have we come through it unscathed? Obviously, disciplinary wise, we have. Heard of any injuries? I've not heard of any injuries for the
I've not heard of any injuries.
Field was just rested, wasn't he?
Field was just rested.
Yeah, he had a slight problem.
Right,
Leeming come through okay enough to play, I imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll go.
And he did a long spell. Did a relatively long spell.
The interesting thing is, we're going to be making a new signing soon. Sam Walters.
Effectively.
It'll be a new signing, won't it?
Yeah.
About 3 or 4 weeks, I reckon, maybe even sooner. Sam Walters will be back, fighting for a shirt in the second row of prop region.
Willie Iser won't play.
That's going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult team selection. And Semba will want to play. He's not let himself down.
Channel want game time.
Channel want, yeah.
Sam Esse will be back soon.
And the thing is,
Cooper, Havard.
Yeah, we always say we've got so many forwards, we're stacked. But it's for this sort of period where we have all these injuries. That's why.
Yeah. Really, really.
And we'll pick up more as the season goes on, no doubt.
It's only natural. And
we're
also in a position where we can afford to rotate forwards and still be in a really strong line. Yeah. You can rotate forward and bring in a Patrick Mago or a Liam Byrne, a Mike Cooper. You don't have to worry about, when are we playing the next team near the bottom? You can rotate them forwards against decent teams. Yeah. And you can just have 6 or 7 props that are star props and just rotate 5 of them every week.
Yeah. And the dream situation is to go to a final with everyone fit and give Matty Pete the keys to pick his best squad.
It never happens.
But it will never happen. It'll never happen. You'll be lucky if you get away with 2 injuries. So if we miss 2 of our star props, I'm still happy with where we're at.
Well, we are.
Well, speaking of props, we got Thompson.
Yeah. But they're not bothered about him.
Going back to...
They don't care about Thompson.
Going back to Thompson.
They wrote a song about it.
They don't care
it'll be interesting to see what reception he gets when
he said today he knows he's going to get
he's in for it,
he said he knows he's in for it. But he said he's going to do his job.
Yeah, 100%.
Fair enough.
I always think in this situation, would you rather be starting or coming off the bench? If you're Thompson?
Starting.
Starting. Take the first carry and get it over and done with.
Yeah, you need. Well, you need, because I think a bench in a game like this, you need to be starting to get into the thick of it. I feel like when you're on the bench, if you only come off to 25 minutes, that kind of adrenaline you have from the warm up, and it takes you a while to get back into the game.
Darting superstars about to pull out the draw.
You ready to get Warrington?
Michael Smith and Joe Cullen.
Oh.
Big Saints fan, Michael Smith. Big Warriors fan, Joe Cullen. Surprised he not got Peter Wright on. He's a big Leeds Rhinos fan.
Yeah, his darting career's going downhill at the moment. He's struggling at the moment. Right, just before the draw happens, I think that wraps up this episode, doesn't it?
We're going to leave him on tenterhooks.
Well, when it comes out, the Laurie heard.
You know who we've drawn.
Yeah. And we're happy with it. Thank you for being on, lads, and we'll see you next week.
It was a pleasure. See you again.
Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.